What's up, turds, nerds, freaks, and geeks, and all in between? It's me, your girl, Daisydame, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the unimaginable, the unfathomable, the mysterious, and oh so curious, hidden and forbidden. We're going to go so far past woo-woo with evidence, facts, research, and more. Yes, once again, we're going to look into the true origins of the Rh negative factor, and many are questioning, is this alien blood? Could we be truly a hybrid species rather than just the human race? Well, we're gonna learn all that and more in today's video, so stick around. So happy that you're here, and let's get into it. Don't worry, if you're not caught up on the topic, we will catch you up on exactly what the Rh negative factor is and where it supposedly comes from, or where it could possibly come from. Much like I've done in the past, I will come right out and let you know I am Rh negative, O negative, and I didn't find this out until I had my son. And here it comes, you guessed it. It was at this point that I learned that I had to get a special shot because my child was Rh positive. And if you're still confused, let's get into all the details. We're going to ask questions like, does Rh negative blood increase the odds of alien abduction? And why is it seemingly untraceable? Is there any proof of where it came from? And do some of us actually have alien blood? And are Rh negative people safe? And what are some common traits among us? As many believe, the consensus, as we stated, is that we have evolved from apes. But when it comes to our blood, there is a small anomaly, leading some to question, is this blood of another origin? Firstly, let us discuss where Rh negative blood comes from. There are 35 blood groups organized by our genetic structure to carry out information that produces antigens. Antigens are molecules that produce immune response. So when toxins or foreign substances attempt to enter our bodies, antigens tell our bodies to attack them. The Rh system contains 61 antigens, with the D antigen determining whether one is positive or negative. This antigen is a sensitive one that lives on the surface of red blood cells. They can also react negatively when in contact with Rh positive blood. So as we went over before in my video, O negative plus Rh negative blood and you, if women such as myself with Rh negative, O negative blood becomes pregnant with an Rh positive child, in which I did, the body will produce antigens signaling the immune system to essentially see that fetus as toxic. Oddly, the woman's body would attempt to kill off its own fetus unless given a rare antibody Rh negative D immunoglobulin. The complication can be known as hemolytic disease. Many write off the idea of Rh negative blood being anything more than just a mutation that came about some point in time during our evolution. This brings us to things I'd like us to focus on. Some believe that Rh negative blood may be something much more. As odd as it may sound, they speculate that there's a possibility it came from alien species that interbred with humans or engineered us in some way, which in a result produced a hybrid bloodline. It's actually only a small percent, 15% of the world's population that is Rh negative. But this percentage is not evenly spread across the earth. When humans are thought to all share the same ancestors, originating in sub-Saharan Africa, the number of Rh-negative Africans is disproportionately low compared to others, about 3%. And in Asia, this proportion is even lower. Rh-negatives often also share a lot of the same qualities, such as higher IQ, lower body temperature, higher blood pressure, redder blondish hair, extra vertebrae, sensitive vision, especially in sunlight, elevated intuition. They tend to try to be more factual, a feeling of being different, being extremely empathetic, tend to be truth seekers. Supposedly, they cannot be cloned. They tend to be healers. They have the ability to disrupt electrical devices, which I've experienced a lot of these. And also, they are prone more to abduction. Well, we're going to get more into that in just a minute. But it's also said that they have psychic dreams or abilities unlike any other. Or we can go with the more ethereal category, and that's that the Nephilim of the biblical lore are responsible for Rh-negative blood types. In the book of Enoch, the Nephilim, also known as the Watchers, descend from the heavens to mate with the humans, creating a human-angel hybrid, which were believed to be wiped out due to the deluge. But some were said to have survived, leaving the Rh-negative blood distinction. Or we can consider the Anunnaki, the extraterrestrial race that helped establish Mesopotamia civilizations, or so it's told. They could be the culprits for leaving this print of the Rh-negative blood. And as I've stated in videos before, I'd like to mention that when we look at certain hybrid species, there are similar incompatibilities, like the Rh-negative woman giving birth to an Rh-positive child, and sometimes there even is complete infertility. When it comes to a donkey and a horse, the genetic difference results in a mule, and the same goes for the liger, the progeny of a lion and a tiger. The two species chromosomes don't match, and so they produce infertile offspring. Could there be a similar incompatibility between Rh-negative mothers like me and my Rh-positive child? Now, I don't know about you, but to me, it seems like a pretty similar situation. Let me know what you guys think about this down below. And have you heard about this all before? Do let me know if you're Rh-negative and what you've experienced, if you felt different, or if you have any of the same traits we've spoken about. If you too have had a child as well, I'd like to know how the birth went and if you had to get the shot. But now let's move forward and talk about even more. And now let us discuss, does Rh-negative blood increase the odds of alien abduction? Well, the answers to that, honestly, just may surprise you. Within history, we hear accounts of visitations from a higher power, ET beings or mysterious forces that have been immortalized and passed down through song and story. Any controversial details get set aside or passed over as impossible or inconsistent with current research or evidence, and yet details reemerge in tales of greater powers, lost and unknown history, and tribes of people or secrets taken to the grave with underground groups, meetings, and rituals buried in the past. This is reflected in many religious texts, myths, and folklore. Other beings such as angels coming down to earth off the mountain or out of a cave to guide mankind and give them gifts and secrets to eternal life. Gods descending from another dimension or world to lie with the women, producing superhuman offspring. Mystical encounters in secluded or high places with entities who impart great knowledge. Men and women abducted, literally or interdimensionally transported under a spell, or held captive and subjected to manipulation by other beings or forces, transformed into someone or something else, or left with scars or memories and feelings. for proof, when we look to the Greek myths alone, they are overflowing with such tales of gods slipping under the dark of night or the veil of a wooded forest to bed with a beautiful earthly woman, luring her with a fog of unearthly pheromones in a dream or a psychic powers, leaving as mysteriously as they have arrived. The child is born a demigod, a newer version of man, and equipped to carry people into the battle or into the new age of man. Simple woman giving birth to the son of a god, creating a hero that tries to save the world or sometimes even destroy mankind. Other god visitations alter the course of mankind or the destiny of a hero that plays out over the evolution of an epic or people. It's not just the Greeks. This kind of superhuman or spiritual intervention can be found in the legends and historical narratives of the Norse, the Sumerians, the Mayans, the Egyptians, the Asians, the Native Americans, and the ancient pagans across the globe. So could these stories actually be true? Were they really gods, or were they something else? Were they gods, angels, or even ancient astronauts? Today, modern scientists and researchers and theorists are exploring and challenging long-held beliefs and scientific hypotheses on the origin of man and our ancestry. The stories left behind and their relevance and influence have been uncovered through diligent protection of sacred texts and modern archaeology. Many of the sources are well known, a part of a common knowledge, while others continue to be brought to our attention via modern media. That there have been cave paintings depicting early human life and showing what looks like common characteristics of an alien being and flying saucers descending from the sky and interacting with the tribes of people. Ancient architecture and hieroglyphs and art depicting gods or other beings with power and advanced technology. Artifacts bearing physical characteristics that match mythical descriptions of beings from another world used in fertility and abundance rituals. Ancient scrolls from Asia and India and Psn myths and in the Quran or Bible that mention other beings or other people at the time of man being of a different origin. Taking wives or creating great men or kings, such as Genesis 6:4. Here were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. Crop circles and documented cases and witness accounts from the 15th and 16th centuries in Germany and France in Newburgh, numerous sightings. The Roswell crash, abductees Betty and Barney Hill, White Striber, an unidentified object crash in the mountains of Mazar in Russia, and countless others who've witnessed UFOs or have been abducted. There's been countless government cover-ups, ex-military confessions of UFOs and secret military, and the government medical research on identified beings, aka non-humans. Contemporary truth seekers speculate that the gods in our ancient stories are actually ancient astronauts, a species from another world. These astronauts found Earth or created through the interbreeding with apes or humans, or by genetic modification in a spaceship or a lab, I guess, spliced extraterrestrial genes with primate or human genes, creating this hybrid modern man. This would mean that our ancestry is of alien origin, a mixed breed with bloodlines that extend beyond our planet. Some believe that this interaction and experimentation continues and was the source of man's evolution through different versions, one always improving upon the other. And others believe that they now are among us freely, and because of the early development of man/alien hybrids, they can naturally interbreed with humans, slowly homogenizing the bloodline and assimilating with ease. If that's true, then couldn't we trace this added bloodline to the gene pool? In the continued search for the origin of mankind and our first ancestors, incomplete data leaves gaps in the path of tracing our genetic lineage through history. According to the evolutionists, our ancestries can be traced back through mutations in our DNA caused by our environmental surroundings and adaptation to changes for survival. A gradual improvement over millions of years from ape to Homo sapiens. And according to creationists, some powerful, all-knowing, and outside being or force invented us instantaneously and directed our lives. We are as we were in inception, from the first human being up until now. But what if the answer is truly just a combination between the two? And we simply couldn't talk about this topic without discussing the rhesus monkey. Though science today has proven that the human genome shares approximately 97% of the same DNA sequence with primates, the rhesus monkey is unique in its timing and fame in the modern medical world. In 1901, Austrian-born Dr. Karl Landsteiner used a mix of the rhesus monkey and rabbit blood to determine agglutination, a clumping response in certain combinations of blood that led to the discovery of types A, B, O, and AB explained previously. And sometimes the reaction was violent and even death from blood transfusions. This led to blood typing and higher success rates in transfusion. And then, 29 years later, in 1930, furthering the research on blood, the doctor repeated the procedure using human blood and rabbit blood. There, he found the common factor between the rhesus monkey blood and the human blood in its clumping response, dubbing the factor as Rh positive. The rhesus monkey blood and human blood in its clumping response is so similar, and that's where we get having the same factor as the rhesus monkey. Approximately 85% of the human population is Rh positive, where the blood cells contain the D antigen, as it was called, a substance on the surface of our red blood cells that triggers the antibodies, as we discussed. So, again, the Rh negative comprises of only 15% of the population. In addition, because the Rh positives share the trait similarity with other species, specifically apes, the Rh positive bloodline can be mapped through time and evolution. Rh negative cannot. It has no similarities or earthly traits. So where did the Rh negative come from? Since the discovery of blood types over hundreds of years ago, little else has been identified by science as to how our blood types originated. However, in putting together the history of evidence and modern science, theorists believe the Rh negative blood type points to alien ancestors merging with two distinct DNA. Believers hypothesize that aliens continue to experiment and improve upon their design by abducting humans. Others say they need our organs and blood transfusions, transplants, cloning, and possibly an interstellar colonization. The singularity of Rh negative, the elements and the details of recorded history and legend, and compiling all these accounts and revealing the components. The highest number of alien abductees are Rh negative, produces compelling evidence linking the alien abductions not only to the very real existence, but also their extensive and ongoing contact with Earth. The reason for the abductions remains a mystery, and the possibilities for why they visit Earth or whom they choose to abduct appear to go beyond some of the simple family reunions or friendly deep space neighborhood contact. However, as we ourselves continue in our own genetic research to push the limits on cloning and DNA splicing and uncover more evidence connecting the microscopic building blocks to all life and the universe, the potential of biological similarities with beings from another world is really not so impossible at all. And I'm sure many of you are worrying, are RH negatives safe? If extraterrestrials continue to visit and share blood traits with the RH negative, preferring to abduct us over others, are RH negatives safe? There's currently no definitive way that this has been presented or shared with the public to prevent alien abductions. Suggestions from believers and abductees seem to point narrowly to wearing some protective gear that blocks mind control in a good old-fashioned mental and physical resistance. Higher rates of alien abductions and other unexplained phenomenon, armed with better understanding of your blood type and possibility the revelation of shared characteristics and personal experiences, you can better be prepared to face an alien abduction or find more answers in a collective of abductees. Perhaps the number of reported alien abductions being those with RH negative blood is random. Or perhaps it is an indicator to an unbreakable relationship between man and the gods. We may never know absolutely, but in the meantime, RH negatives, especially the universal donor O negative, can consider that their blood is rare and valuable and could have the potential to save anyone on Earth and conceivably others throughout the universe. Now, as long as RH negative people like myself and others are around, so will the age-old question be, who are we really and where do we originate? Please, if you like this video, share and always leave a comment and a like down below. Tell me what you think or feel about this topic. I appreciate all my new subs more than you know. And I want you to know that I hear all of your constructive criticisms. I'm always working and learning on improving more content for all of you. Thank you so much for checking out my channel, and I'll see you again next time. Bye, guys!